Spinning. We're live. There we go.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Poppy Sprague, tell us all about yourself.
Well, I'm a psychologist, psychotherapist, friends with Lou, and we thought we would just show up. That's what we thought, and love on you guys. For whatever reason, we got Harley Davidson's going past. Sorry.
That's good.
Lou is a phenomenon of epic magnitude, of course.
Bless you.
And so we're putting our magic together to just be here, to be present to what's happening at the moment, to the different cultures that's going on within our beliefs and how we're experiencing this time, and be here and have a chat about it, and equally invite you guys to be with us. So welcome on the replay.
Exactly.
Should we tell a joke or just do something between us for a minute whilst I share this and we have people see if they want to join us live?
Sure. I'm just trying to put it onto my page right now. That was lovely. Poppy is also an internet sensation, followed by millions, loved by millions. Yes. She's straight with the medicine, and she thinks outside of the box. We're not even sure where the box is when Poppy and I get started here. So there is no bloody box. Exactly. So it's crazy good. Yeah. And this is, I don't know, the 4th, 5th, something like this live we've done since the madness started here, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's great to
the operative word.
Right. It's great to try to make sense of everything. So I did a spirit talk last night, which is my little evening show where I go completely into the politics, the conspiracies, the human rights issues, and try to move it in the direction of making sense and bringing it all into a context that works for people spiritually as well. And if you think that isn't a challenge with what's happening now, you're quite you'd be wrong as well. It's a huge challenge for all of us, and people like us are really trying to support each other and try to gain as much clarity and information as we can. The good news is there are trustworthy people out there telling us what's happening and making some sense of all of it. The bad news is it's kill the messenger time, and people don't like hearing. We don't like.
On your end, I think it's going put on your end.
It's a bit clicky. Yes, it's a bit clicky all of a sudden.
Do you want to put the sound down just a baby bit? That might work.
Sure, or I can throw the headphones on here.
Maybe.
Try that.
Yeah, are you bruised at all from a bit of challenge because you're a messenger yourself, or are you unscathed?
Well, I'm. Thank you. I've been taking my licks and keep on ticking, as we say. How's that? Is that any better?
No.
No, it's still there.
Huh?
Yeah. No.
Got a little interrupter. What does that mean?
I don't know. Contrast.
Well, we could keep going, and then whoever's here, we could ask if it's tolerable. Otherwise, what do we do? Scrap it and start again, I suppose.
It might be your Wi-Fi setup. I don't know, honestly. Usually, I don't have that.
Yeah.
So
if you don't talk for a minute, and we'll see if it's me. Blah blah blah. Nice to be with you. With that, how would we know?
Yeah.
We talk for a bit and then ask people.
Yeah, let's just carry on. As long as we can manage to ignore it and make some sense, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Okay.
If it's too much, then no, that's all right. So yeah, I'm just, as I said, I've been swimming through Judy Mikovits and Sharon Tenpenny and George Webb and Cliff High and Paul Collette. Yeah, it's pretty noisy. All these researchers, and was just listening to Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza. So
is anybody on that they could give us a bit of feedback?
We have 12 people watching. We haven't had any comments.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Is it terrible, the noise bit? Or can we tolerate it, is the question.
I'm okay for the moment.
Did we talk about the other day what Jean-Pierre de Villiers said? I think we did, about people showing their face to camera, and those doing it gives us quite a powerful insight with people who are having an alternative dialogue, that we can see their face, hear their, the tone of voice. And I thought that's really stayed with me, as opposed to the sort of mainstream information that we're having, where it's talked about using a teleprompter or whatever. That really has sat with me all week. I thought that was really insightful.
Yes, I do too. I think it's a kind of a generalization, but it seems fairly true that when people are telling the truth, they're much more willing to put their face behind it. And if they know they're not telling the truth, then they try to distance themselves from it.
Yeah. The psychopaths, obviously, that doesn't apply. They're just, bold-faced because they're so wonderfully seductive and manipulative. It doesn't count for the psychopaths.
Right. No, they have no problem with, they have no shame. They have no empathy. So it's all a performance for them, and it's all about them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Enough about you. Let's talk about me, as the narcissists and the psychopaths like to say. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. And that's the thing. I think talking to a lot of people, if we can go here, about some of the mentality of people, we can like or not like certain people's politics. My argument is putting a criminally insane, which is what psychopathy is, person in power, is pretty dangerous. Because a lot of people, we think Ted Bundy or whatever when you say psychopath, and it's really important for us to acknowledge it's so seductive. It's so seductive. And oftentimes, because I know a lot of psychopaths, people, she's so charming, or he's so, little old lady. Somebody said to a lady that came to my clinic, the assistant, she's so lovely. She's a textbook psychopath. Of course she's lovely. So we get to really, really have an education in psychology this time.
Yes, that's well said, my friend. That's sadly very true. I mean, for me personally, I wasn't looking at this stuff until 1999. And I was living in Arizona, and that's when I got guided to read one of David Icke's books. And I was kind of like, to my guides, well, I'm not really sure I want to know this. And they're like, oh, you're going to need to know this, So it's like, okay. And then two of my dear friends in Los Angeles, the woman's name is Dove, and the guy's name is Dove, and the woman's name is Judy. And Dove is a musician and a producer and an artist, and Judy is an actress and an activist and an author. But Judy told me her whole true story, which is pretty heavy, about these two adopted twins that they were in the process of adopting, these young children, like 2 or 3 years old, and her husband went missing, and then it turned out that he was murdered. And in the process of her investigating his death, she lost custody of these twins, and she's never had them again. Yeah. So this is how I was introduced to David Icke, because David and Judy are friends, and we went to one of his talks in LA, one of his 10-hour 1,000-image talks where people say he's just making it all up. And it's like, I don't think so, my friends. Yeah, do you have the stomach to go all the way down the rabbit hole and come out the other side? So yeah, I got a major dose in darkness and madness and all this stuff that's in the background. But then, we need to have some path of hope and healing and strength and empowerment in the face of that. And I'll just say this, and then hear from you, my friend. Both Abraham and Lazarus, who've been two of my favorite teachers for the last many years, they really don't spend a lot of time looking at the darkness and looking at evil, because they feel that it's too seductive, as you say. It gets very distracting, and people get very upset very quickly. And then, our vibration is in the basement, and we're wondering, how do we not stop being victims? So it's a tricky business to even talk about this stuff, because people get so easily triggered, and there are so many people that have had these personal stories, many more than people are aware of. And this includes even the attacks against women, and how prevalent and sadly common that is in the world, and how most people are not aware of this and are in denial of these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've taken all the air out of the balloon right there.
Let's use helium now. Just tell everybody about what you said about making comments on the spiritual channel.
Sure. So the channel that we're broadcasting from, everybody, great to have you here, is Lou Martin, LOUMARTIN -spiritual channel, which is what I do and what my page is called. Yeah, you can go to that page and you can make comments or ask us questions. And Poppy, we have Yvonne, Nina, Linda, Tamison joining us here so far. Yeah.
So what you're saying is the original feed of this live, if you go there, because I'd need more instruction if it were me, and then you can comment.
Yes.
We can see, but only Lou can see.
Well,
do you know what
I can share it to your page as well through Messenger if that works.
I shared it.
Okay,
it
honey.
already.
Okay, very good.
One of the things, a bit like you, I think any of us who are awake, we download, in different kinds of ways.
Yes.
So often I'm listening. What is that like? I'm thinking of a fairy story of some sort where, I just hear noises and I'm like, nah, I don't want to, not today, gotta stop.
Yes.
And just, it's so on my mind because me, I get passionate, let's say. I'm murderously rageful and, not having it stuff.
Yes, dear.
Which is not so much my Zen side.
No, that I'd agree with that.
What's really been
bless you
on, it's just pain basically, and injustice and wounds and all that stuff. Obviously, nobody else experiences
pain and fear, sweetheart. Of course,
exactly. Of course, I keep thinking about people. I watch some people who I trust as well, and that's a big ask for a lot of us, is who are you turning to that you're not turning off to because you just don't know who to trust, and therefore it's all just noise now. And I hear that it's like kind of cry wolf type experience, and I hear a lot of people, because of course what I do is I look bigger than the chat, I look up, from like an eagle looking down, basically,
right?
Because it makes more sense to me. And a lot of people saying, there's so many people who aren't awake, let's help wake people up, meaning, let's look at the ugly and just be there for a moment. The ideas that perhaps are incomprehensible or seem too weird and out there or whatever, let's just be with it for a second before we dismiss it. And sort of calling for us to invite more and more people to be awake. And absolutely, in terms of spirituality and people surrendering more and being together and talking about, wow, somebody said it to me, I can't believe how asleep I've been to this corruption. I think that there are people, we can sort of nudge them, and they just need a gentle, loving interruption. And there are some people, and this is, I think, because it's such disturbed psychology in us, we just have, the more disturbance we grow up with, the more disturbed we are at Stacks. It's just a thing.
Sure.
There's I think a general, it's not so easy to understand that some people have to be asleep to this. Have to. They're invested in it because we can only see corruption and lies and manipulation outside of ourselves to the degree to which we recognize our own lies and deceit and manipulation.
Yes.
And I don't mean...
I posted that from your page.
I don't mean we're sitting around being psychopaths. What I mean is, I'm being serious, by the way, when I quote psychopathy, I'm absolutely straight down the line. What it can mean is, no, I love him really, or, oh no, I don't mind, Mum, I'll come around and get the shopping, or I'm not eating for weeks because I want to fit into my jeans, or whatever. That kind of denial and twist and manipulation that we do of ourselves, there's no way on God's earth those people are going to be able to see what's happening, because we can only see anything that we've faced off with, if that makes sense.
That's totally true.
It seems important that, you know, when people are saying, wake everybody up, when me too, I'm going, do something. Oh my God. It's so many people are invested. It's a survival, you know, it's a survival must to be asleep, because otherwise we're going to have to face off with our own traumas in tandem with facing off with this trauma, which a lot of people, quite honestly, would go mad if they had to do it. And I mean that.
Well,
go mad to have to do all of that at once.
I kind of think that's the agenda, hun. You know, whatever we've denied within us is coming at us as fate. You know, and like we're saying here, sweetheart, you know, it is a huge challenge because you can't actually do them both at the same time. You know, we only have power over what we take responsibility for, is the way my guides put it. And you're only responsible for what you understand, is part 2. And part three is the degree that you take responsibility is the degree to which you understand. So there's all of that happening on one level, and then on the other level, you know, as you and I know, we can't ask more of ourselves than we believe we're able to give to ourselves or open up to. So this is where, you know, psychology and mysticism, you know, kind of are side by side with each other, which is we're all looking for how to make our lives more meaningful and more joyous and more successful. And in the midst of crisis, we're looking for resolutions and answers and clarity. And as you said, people that are trustworthy. And yet at the same time, our own lens, you know, like you were sharing there, people are starting to, the veil's starting to fall away, and they're starting to see, we're all starting to see, wow, there's a lot of stuff that's going on that I wasn't paying attention to.
Yeah. But to me, that's like a healthy relationship, or a health within the relationship. We'll attract what we are. So the degree to which we can see and be open to trust, the degree to which we're trustworthy with us, I'm just saying what you're saying in my mind. We can be open to other people who are trustworthy. So, you know, it's a reflection. So it's kind of like, if we can detect a manipulative soul, if we can detect a really loving, truthful person, it says heaps about our own capacity to be healthy and truthful and trustworthy and so on. If we're not trustworthy with ourselves, nobody wants to hear this when they can't detect lies. What's usually happening is we lie to ourselves.
Exactly.
It's kind of, let's take it as a compliment in a major way if we're able to go, you know what, I'm going to sit with the pain and the yuck of this, the ugliness, and perhaps wonder what it's like to be, you know, somebody who it's a no-brainer to get your phone out and record things when you're in the position of authority because of X, Y, and Z. That is quite common. Or, you know, X, Y, and Z doesn't happen, because we get to be curious when we disagree with something, you know, when it's like, no, that doesn't happen. Well, what about, let's just have the courage to be curious about it and then reject it if we choose.
Sure. That's great. You know, for me, honestly, the theme right now is power and authority, you know, and how when, you know, in our society, all our relationships are based on agreements. And so, like we're saying, when we keep our agreements and we trust each other, then it's a healthy relationship, and it grows, and there's wonderful things that come out of that. When we can't, don't, or won't keep our agreements, and we realize that we don't trust someone, the government, the media, scientists who have billions of dollars invested in a particular vaccine or a method of treatment or an outcome or where the virus came from, all these deep questions, then, you know, then things start to get a bit wobbly. And I really believe this is going to be the wobbliest bit we've ever had to cope with, because I don't think that the government is telling the truth. I don't think the physicians and the scientists are telling the truth that the government is putting in front of us. And I don't think that the media is telling the truth of what the government, the scientists, and the physicians are saying to us. There are exceptions to that, but there are now so many people who are putting information out. Dr. Judy Mikovits, with her video there, Plandemic, that she did with Mickey Wills, that's been seen by 8 million people in the space of a few days. After this half an hour came out, there were no less than 4 different media reports: LA Times, The Guardian, NPR, premier media, just trashing her, trashing the film, disreputable, dishonest, smear. That's like, oh, really? This is what mind control looks like, everyone.
Yeah. Somebody messaged me about it, upset, saying, well, but here's a link to an article that she's corrupt. And I'm like, of course, send me all the others, because of course she's going to be corrupt. Hello, wow, this is more evidence of the world that you live in.
Yeah.
And and in a way, I'm kind of glad that you haven't grown up knowing that this happens, because it's painful to know that this happens.
Sure.
To me, I was saying this the other day. This is how I see it, which is, of course, we're being lied to because we're liars and we're unintegrous. The majority, otherwise we wouldn't be at home. If the majority of us live true, we're integrous, I'm not going to buy that product because it's corrupt, what's happened to it and where it's come from and the way people are treated to give me this cheap product, etc. If we were more integrous, there would be less of us at home. There would be more diversity. The majority don't speak the truth, so we're at home. And then we get to go, well, the government's not honest. Well, because they're a reflection of us. So until we take, in my mind, the little things, the place where you're lying to your mom about the truth, the place where you're lying to your little kids, the place where you're going to a cheap place and buying cheap stuff that's wrapped in plastic that's killing the world. Until we become integrous, we cannot ask somebody else to be integrous, because we're not walking our talk.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. I think in general, people are as honest as they feel safe to be,
well, too bad that's not working for us,
Well,
so
that's why it's a crisis. That's why it's a crisis.
Exactly.
Because I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's like you're saying, hun. No, of course we get the world we believe in, and we get the life we believe in, and we get the relationships we believe in. But none of us are perfect, and all of us are struggling, in one way or another. So we do need to have some compassion for our fear and pain, But yes, we also need to move it in the direction of truth and healing and honesty and integrity, as you're saying. And that's part of the reflection that the bigger world gives us to sit with right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And we're in my mind, we're always talking the same, just sometimes different perspective. I very much agree that compassion, well, I wish we taught it in schools along with all the rest of this.
Sure.
Having said that, there is a time that we get to say, you're full of bullshit, and step up to nothing.
Yes, well, this is definitely one of those moments, because there's plenty of bullshit to be had. There's no doubt about that.
Can we take the righteous path, though? I think that there was Sharon asked that question.
Yeah.
Did we talk to it? I don't.
No,
but
it's a beautiful idea, because to be righteous is to be clean and pure and noble and moral and responsible and walking the talk. And she was mentioning, I want to hear your thoughts on it too as well. I just wanted to say that she's mentioning Matt Kahn and somebody else here, Yvonne, mentioning Matt Kahn and Dolores Cannon and Eckhart Tolle. So yeah, we're very blessed, because none of us are enlightened, but we do have very brilliant teachers on the planet, who are pointing the way. It's just listening to Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza. So my solutions may not be your solutions, yours may not be for me entirely, but the fact that we have, the space and the time and the resources to talk about these things and exchange ideas and ask for people's opinions and questions and all that is very fertile right now. And to me, as the fog clears and more daylight penetrates these mysteries that we're trying to solve, the economy, the lockdown, our freedom of speech, our human rights, et cetera, et cetera. there's a big battle between light and darkness as we perceive it in the world right now, and each of us has our part to play in this struggle right now, in this healing.
Yeah. And I don't know, but if I reverse roles with the likes of, well, I'm just Hare Gates, as I call him, for a second, I imagine that, I don't know, but I'm pretty good at role reversing with psychopaths because I know so many. I imagine his end goal is similar to mine in a way, which is I want a world where I feel I'm proud of and safe in, and there's enough room for me. And if I need to mass sterilize all women and men, then okay, good. The intention, often we don't know what people's intentions are. I think, like you're saying, I think we have the same end goal, just as you're saying, we come from different places, different arguments about how to do it and so on. That's all I can imagine, is ultimately we want the world that we see as the right and proper one. And that often involves being safe with who we feel we identify with, or who is most worth being here, or whatever it is. In whatever way, even us soft, loving ones, we have judgment of who's better, and we just do. And that's the human thing.
Sure.
When Sharon says, sorry, righteous path, I'm assuming, help me out, I'm assuming what she means is, can we do the right thing and keep to that path? Is that what she's saying?
Yeah, I'm sure she'll have her own spin on it. She says the way to heal ourselves is to love ourselves and be kind with ourselves and focus on love, of course, which is great, Sharon. And then the rest of the world comes in, and there's the challenge, my friend. You're treating yourself well, and then you see something that doesn't make sense or doesn't feel good, or you see somebody being cruel, or you see anything that upsets you. And, then we are thrown into this place of confusion and fear and rage, as we say. Anger is a response to being frightened, basically. And so, which is all very human and very natural. The thing is, in this dance between light and dark right now on the planet, to my mind, we're being asked to, walk in the steps of people like Martin Luther King and Gandhi and John Lennon, and people who were both willing to look at whatever was happening in the world, but also unwilling to get down in the dirt with the worst of what was happening, not to debase themselves in the process of trying to lift up the rest of humanity. I mean, it's a real paradox, because in order to do that, we have to keep working on ourselves. And when we're talking about being righteous, that's what I relate to.
Righteous. So forgive me, because my understanding of that word was oppressive, but what it means is to be right, to do.
Oh God, yeah.
Right.
A righteous and a holy man is someone who is noble and has integrity and is honest and trustworthy.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. Yeah.
To be self-righteous is a different story.
That's why I was getting confused.
Yeah.
It reminds me again of what we were talking about the other day, Jung, saying basically when we do the work, meaning we just reflect on our disdain for, or our resentment toward whatever it is, look at our own pain and start to accept and meander our way through who we are and what we judge and all of this stuff. Compassion. It's easy when you know how, right?
Well, it is a practice. I mean, we will forget and remember over and over.
Oh, life practice. And this is again why a lot of people shy away from it, because again, as Jung would say, is we don't necessarily want to see what's in the mirror. It's pretty damn scary, the idea that we are furious, the idea that we want revenge, the idea that we're unforgiving or something's not. It's scary stuff to face off with. What he was talking about was all of us, when we move into our purity and our power, we have the potential to arm ourselves with so much, clarity and, nobility, I want to say, but security in who we are and what we feel is right and so on, that we have the power to be destructive, but we use it to be assertive and to care for people. Whereas people who don't do the work, they move into that shadow place and they do use it to hurt people. And there just isn't a middle ground as I see it. There just isn't.
Well, it's unconsciousness. That's what pain and fear are speaking to, and when people are being cruel or misusing their power against others, it's because they really don't know how to treat themselves or another in a better way. And that is a result of trauma, and you're right. It is painful and humbling, as people are saying here, to look in the mirror at our own shortcomings. But Jung is a beautiful example, and you are as well, my friend. There is no other way to freedom. We're going to be with ourselves forever. This is what Spirit says. So we might as well get on with the journey here and make peace with our imperfect self and our imperfect past, and find the courage and the willingness to really show up in the world, which is what we get to do in moments like this.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
How are people doing on the live?
Good. My friend, my dear friend Connie jumped in here, and she's always got some great ideas. She says, and that is when we should turn within and see why we are triggered. If we cannot accept their actions as their journey, then what part of me needs to be worked on? I think you mean there, which is a fair question, right? That's self-reflection and responsibility. Beautiful. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Right. And Kathy says this rings my bell. Sorry, I can post these. I've forgotten. I've just learned I can do this today. That's why you're seeing these posts. I'm like, oh, I can do that. I didn't know. Kathy says discernment versus judgment. And
what was that other comment up there?
This was Connie's that I just read.
Oh, I see. Beautiful.
Yeah. And so discernment versus judgment is what the Course in Miracles talks about, which is in their language, we judge out of pain and fear and anger and hatred and guilt and blame. And because we are unable or unwilling to forgive ourselves, we project that onto the bad guys, this one, that one, the other one. And we think we're as pure as the driven snow, which of course none of us are, versus discernment, which is, I see your pain, your fear, your cruelty, your hidden agenda, your deception, your dishonesty, whatever. But I'm not getting sucked into judging you, hating you, or blaming you for that. But I'm also not going to sleep that these things are happening. I'm staying conscious and aware and present that you're not in your truth, and I don't trust you. This kind of thing.
Yeah, I see that as ego versus grace.
Okay. That's very nice. I like that. I have no argument with that. Those words in that way. That's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, we have a lower self, and a higher self. And what to me, this planetary healing crisis is forcing us to do, among so many wonderful things, is look at our values. What do we believe? Who do we believe? Who do we trust? Why do we trust them? What are our values about how the world is working or not working? And we're human beings. We're very good at living in uncertainty for short periods of time, but living in uncertainty for long periods of time begins to make people start to lose the plot. And it's kind of that's where we're at right now. And certainly in the US and the UK, things are still quite uncertain and mysterious and confusing, and it must be wearing everyone's patience to go through all that.
Yeah, I'm curious as well. We could ask what people are doing to get a sense of certainty, because our beautiful friend Tony Robbins, whether you like him or not, he's very, very
I have no problem with Tony. He's lovely. Research. Yeah.
No, other people may, a lot of people are like, oh my God, it's a cult. It's like, really get in there and you will have a different idea.
We all get to have our heroes,
Exactly. He's certainly one of mine.
Yeah.
Where he says, we will contort, bend, bulldoze our values to meet our human needs. So in a time like this, certainty, we've talked about this before, is a survival need to be certain of something.
Yes.
So in my mind, this is a lot of why we're so separated and people are so screamy and, facing off with each other. And there's this literal, I don't know even what that's called, but where we're hating on each other, is in times of such uncertainty, like you're saying, we'll do anything to get it. So if it's, I have to call, you know, your glasses white with pink polka dots, I'm going to do that to get a sense of certainty. And I don't give a damn what you tell me about where they were made or anything. So it's interesting to ask people, where are you getting a sense of certainty? Because I imagine, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to work it out, does it? Our old familiar patterns of how we manage uncertainty will be, for example, drinking, drugging, stopping eating, eating more, getting angry, whatever it is. The things where we relapse back into behaviors that we were certain of will be happening now for more and more people, which is just so human that we may feel. We do this in my school online, you know, ASM. Is what are your top 5 values, and then how much are you breaking them at the moment, because we will to meet a need for certainty. And it's so profound. We can ask, because it's comedy and it's also very painful at the same time to recognize it.
Sure. Well, you're raising a great red flag to me of this whole conversation in a wonderful way, which is trust versus certainty, you see, because that's what I hear. And you know, this is really the challenge. Is like, to me, 2020 is the year of the visionary, and without a vision, the people perish. And the old maps and models and the old paradigms of what has worked for us and how things have worked is very wobbly at the moment, as we know. So in order, you know, like you said, we're looking for comfort. We're looking for you know, pleasure, certainty, safety, familiarity, all these things, which is great. Or maybe it's human anyway, but it's part of the journey. But what is exciting is when we can trust that there is a reason for these challenges showing up in our lives. This is what Spirit asks us to believe, and faith asks us to believe, like we spoke about, from fear to faith. And faith is when we're empowered and saying, okay, this has happened, or this is happening. What's the best I can do with this? How can I use this to grow? How can I use this to become more of who I've always wanted to be? So that's, to me, that's what I wanted to introduce into what we're saying here.
Yeah. And ultimately, we're so good at that when we allow ourselves to adapt.
Yes.
And I think part of our, I don't know what you call that, westernizing, laziness, fear, assumption that
programming
powers outside of us.
Programming,
exactly.
Yes.
Programming is that we're not adaptable, that we're not brilliant. It's again, you know, when I'm with people and we use sat nav, you know, that whatever it's called, where you put in where you want to go on your phone, or I'm
sure.
like, don't do it, because intuition is out of the flipping window. And then, well, I don't know how to get there without my, you know,
sure.
You do. But in terms of right now, in my mind, we've called this in. We've all been asking for more time, more connection, more whatever space. We want to be doing something else, except, well, hello, we got it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, I think we forget how extraordinarily adaptable we are, and then we sit in fear that we want it back the way it was, which is just like, wow, that's a setup for disappointment.
Sure. That's right. That's well said. You know, excuse me. I mean, we're trying to shake off victim consciousness, the whole planet, with this. You know, if this is not a natural virus, if this virus is man-made, okay, to me, I believe that's the story. If this virus is actually not just man-made, but it's actually a bioweapon, and it's been created to be as destructive as possible, okay. If the story is about the numbers of people dying and how overcrowded hospitals are and how serious this is all greatly exaggerated, which David Icke and many others are saying, okay, that's another agenda. If this is about Bill Gates and vaccines and microchips and track and trace and all of that, okay, that's another agenda, like China does, you know, with social points, and you gain and lose social points, and it limits your freedom and your mobility in society. You know, if you have too many points taken off you, can't get on an airplane, you can't get on a train, etc. Cashless society. So we all know, I think, at this point, what the list is on over there, you know, what all that is about, how that could play out. But on the other side of it, like you and I know, human beings are incredibly resourceful and powerful, especially when we start believing in our ability to be creative and resourceful, and we start trusting the unknown. There's a gift for us in this. There's an opportunity here. There's something that if this hadn't happened, we wouldn't be looking in this direction. That's where I want to keep pointing myself and anyone who's listening. What is that freedom that you've been, as you said, that we've been all reaching for? We've been asking for this freedom. Okay, you've got it. Now we're sitting with ourselves. Can we begin to dream new dreams together? Can we begin to see the world that we really want to live in and the relationships we really want to have? That's my question.
And the connection that we're screaming for. You know, I work with, sometimes there's a kind of personality trait which is just about, it's a particular psychology where there's so much pain and disappointment, where it's nastiness. It's a real bitchy thing.
Sure.
Desperately lonely, but it's the behavior is so that nobody wants to come near it, but they're screaming for connection with other people, but we don't know how to get it. So, you know, again, Tony would say, with the human needs of love and connection, most people settle for connection because love is too scary. So you get connection through being an absolute bitch. And what isn't able to happen is for us to have the, you know, herd mentality, the tribal sort of rituals of sitting around a fire, seeing each other. It reminds me of the story about Robert Blythe, one of his friends who's psychologist, who went back to his tribe and spoke to the children. He was an elder to the kids and was trying to explain Western culture, why we insure things, our cars, our guinea pigs, whatever. And the kids were like, why would you want to insure against loss? Like, why wouldn't they want to know about death and rebirth and helping each other and so on? So those of us that have felt so isolated and suicidal and overwhelmed and depleted and adrenal fatigue and people pleasing and, you know, all bulimia and all of our crazy that we do because we're disconnected, that's gone when we look at this stuff. Gone. We don't need it. It's just symptomatic of disconnection at the end of the day, really. So we got it.
We got what? Sorry, you lost me there. What do we have?
We've got the space to connect now.
Yes,
we've got it, but it takes obviously a lot of courage to be able to go, Lou, listen, I trust you enough to ask you what to do, or Poppy, what do you think of this? Or, you know, to drop the mask of I need to know it all, and no, I don't need anything, and yeah, I really want you to listen to me, but I'm not going to show you me. I'm just going to be, I don't know, brilliant, because otherwise you'll reject me. All of this stuff that we do has got us in this problem. And it, you know, Dr. Zach, and I forget his surname, was talking about, you know, another part of the puzzle that in the States, pig shit, the shit from pigs is so toxic that it's been labeled, what is that called? I don't know. It can't be transported legally because it's so toxic.
It's called toxic waste. Toxic waste,
Toxic waste. And it's kind of like, if I was God and really tired and really pissed off, I'd be sitting back going, you people have fucked it now. You know, look at this. You're thinking, oh my gosh, virus. Oh my gosh, you know, the pain and difficulty and the fear and the challenges outside of us. Look what we've done to pigs.
Well, we've done it to the whole world.
God, I'd be having
but
you know,
God,
think about it.
Well, God is merciful is the good news, because God is a God of love. But yeah, we are, darling. We are very much. And when we worship these gods of pain and fear and loneliness and self-criticism and all that, which we all do from time to time, me too, then, you know, we get to feel really crappy about ourselves and humanity and the world. And it's very, you know, it's very disempowering. It's necessary to look at whatever's going on. But the thing is that, you know, we're so fragmented. You know, we've been so fragmented. And until we've had this collective experience, which is unique in any lifetime, where all of us are so interrelated now and interconnected and interdependent on each other and living in a healthy world and taking care of each other and looking after each other in this much deeper way, as well as, ironically, spending more time by ourselves, being alone, being isolated, thinking about our lives, thinking about where we're at. So it's kind of like these two, dilemmas side by side, which is, how can I have a better life, better quality of life, more love, more joy, more happiness, more success, more empowerment, more inspiration? Great. And how can I live in a world where more people have a better life, the kind that they want to have as well? Which, so we all really want the same thing. It's just that fear has gotten us to be divided and conquered, and competing and struggling against each other. And that's what has to break, in my opinion, has to break apart. Is the pig farmer, he's got a family to feed, et cetera, et cetera. Whoever drives the truck, he's got a family to feed. Everyone needs to have a purpose in this world that supports them and their loved ones. And it's well within our ability to create a world where that works. But yes, you're quite right, not without looking at what doesn't work at the same time, but also having compassion for where people are at. And, just being, my prayer is that we take the blinders off and we stop believing everything that's told to us just because it's said through the media or a government authority. And this is what is really falling apart, because we're seeing that a lot of this is not honest or trustworthy.
Absolutely. And my argument here is the only way that can actually be long-term sustainable is if we look at ourselves. So, to me, the perfect sort of symbolism really is we've been sent to our rooms to think about it, in my opinion, quite literally.
Yes.
However, when you come down from, you've been in your room, are you gonna say sorry to your brother now? It's kind of like, well, we do need to have a look at what did we do to be sent to our rooms? What did we do? Because having an argument with the government or whomever it is, the neighbor who's not wearing a mask or whatever it is, that to me is, we're missing a trick. That's way deeper than that. What did you do to be sent to your room? Because we're not victims to this. There's always something that we are responsible for that we can do better. By reflecting, where was I part of some kind of corruption that's meant that we're all, in a way, so fearful? There's always an opportunity, as we know, as we can see, for waking up and so on, being really shook up. We never change unless it's super uncomfortable. But it's very important to me in this story that we go, what have you been spending your money on? Because every time, I can't remember who said this, every time you spend a dime, a penny, you're voting for the world that you want. That's all of us. We're all doing this.
Sure. And that's very helpful, but none of us can solve the problem in isolation either. This is the paradox, this is the paradox. Well, we're not planets unto ourselves. We're all interrelating and interconnected with everything we do. We're more interconnected than ever.
I agree with that. However, if I start to take more responsibility for me in the environment I can, the choice is Amazon or the local shop that's going on there. That's a choice in pursuit of our health. We can do that stuff. We really can, to be able to go, hang on a minute, where can I do better? That we can do on our own. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm not saying we're slaves or victims, but I'm just saying that, we need to do both. Like you're saying, we need to take responsibility for what we can change, and we need to reach out and invite other people to be a part of the conversation like we are here today. Great. To think outside the box, to hear, what people are doing, to heal their lives and to make this a meaningful time, etc. This is Veronica. Being creative and busy helps in the present reality. What, as you say, is the reality now. We like to have connection. The earth has not been treated well, for sure. Yeah, those are good statements and good questions. We're trying to figure it out as we go along here. Absolutely. I think we're much more conscious of life. Life is a sacred gift, and the earth is a very precious resource and a conscious being who deserves our love and respect. And we're going to change the world, I'm sure, over the next few years. How humanity, as you said, makes these individual and collective decisions about where we put our time and energy and money and all of that. Right now, we're just trying to kind of punch our way out of this paper bag, which is these illusions and these fantasies and these hidden agendas, which do not necessarily have our best interest in heart, and come to terms that this actually may be what's going on, and what shall we do about that?
Yeah. And to me, I'm sure you would agree with this. What Veronica's saying really is where the power is our creativity. That's so powerful when we get away from all the devices and all of the whatever chatter, to be able, people are saying, oh, I was making bread with my son, or, my son made pasta, or whatever, because we're actually in the space, doing the doing, in the now, and being able to go, well, what do you think? Oh, I don't know. Well, put your hand on your heart. What, yes or no? And we know instantly. We're an oracle, as I always say. We're
Sure, honey.
brilliant. We're our
Yes.
own coach 24/7.
Yes.
We have a very
Yes.
good one or an abusive one, and we get to pick.
Yes, I quite agree with you. Quite agree. Yeah, to listen to, trust, and follow our heart is to live from the inside out and be in tune with the truth that's worthy of our trust, and then by extension try to bring that into our life and into the world, and to treat others the way we want to be treated, to see what's out of balance, like we're saying, but not be in hatred and fear that things are not the way we would like them to be. That's the work, to my mind.
Yeah.
So to me, what I do is I meditate and pray and write in my journal every day, and do the things that I'm inspired to do and am excited to do, and try to follow, like you said, try to follow that loving heart inner guidance, and then pay attention when I've fallen off my bicycle, and I'm not in a good space, or I have said or done something that I'm not comfortable with. And just, be human and responsible, and, make amends when needed, and take responsibility when appropriate, and, and keep trying. Things are changing so quickly inside of us, like you were saying here, with this time that we have to ourselves, because most people have not had the luxury of this deep inner journey that this retreat, this is what Martin, my buddy from Agape, calls it. Nice to be on retreat with you all. This is it. We're really on an extended spiritual retreat. And so the question for my guides, you've heard this before, Poppy, they say these are the questions of a retreat or a vision quest. What do I believe? How deeply do I believe it? And is this my truth now? And like you said, when you put your hand on your heart, you close your eyes, you go within, your heart will bring you back to the truth, will bring you back to what's important. But the challenge is, to quiet the mind enough and to raise the vibration of the heart enough so that they're equal, they're in harmony and balance, they can hear and speak to each other. And that usually is not our natural and normal state of being. It's usually, it comes and goes.
No. And I would say, wait, is this true? Yeah. So I'm thinking back to a time when I was so anxious. It was about 20, and the idea of meditation. So when you say to quiet the mind, 20 years ago, I would have listened to you and gone, yeah, a good point. I'm not going to do it, because the idea of being quiet was so scary to me for lots of different reasons.
Sure,
but if
sure.
I think about, because that would have been, well, I'm out because I can't do that. Whereas what I know, and see if you agree, because I do, I was going to say, the idea of just being able, I go back to, Poppy at 20 or whatever, was put your hand on your heart, love, yes or no. I would have been able to do that. But to be there and quiet, I wouldn't have, it was frightening to me to be quiet with myself for like that.
Sure, honey,
horrible.
Sure.
Couldn't do it.
Sure. Well, for most of us, I mean, this is why I smoked weed every day of my 20s, because I was like a nervous wreck. Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. So I raised my hand. I want to put my hat in the ring of anxiety attacks and all the rest of it.
Tell us about that, because not many of us know that about you. Tell us about your weird and wonderful bit.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't start using grass until I was 21, and then I never looked back. You know, I mean, it was like, oh, here's the answer to all my problems. Every day I'm just going to get toasted, you know, pick up the guitar and play and listen to some music and eat a little ice cream and just, you know, read some books and just chill out in my free time. But that was, I mean, that was a great time. It was a lot of fun. Venice Beach, you know, the boardwalk there was crazy good.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, the whole 9 yards. But you know, I am a triple earth sign, so eventually I had to come back to earth, I suppose. And the gift of that, and why I closed the door on that, was because I started to have these spiritual experiences. You know, I started to have these mystical experiences, these awakening experiences through opening the heart. It's all about the heart. The heart is the center of the universe. If people feel, when we feel safe, loved, and supported, vulnerable, intimate, connected, you know, real, then everyone's heart opens up. If we don't feel those things, then everyone is kind of like in this place of caution and observation. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, my busy little mind needed slowing down as well. But the good news is, as we do put our hand to our heart and we do the things that open our heart, then, you know, we descend into the center of ourself. And as you learn how to value that and live from that place, then every time you come back to your mind and your life, you're more consciously connected to your inner guidance. And to me, as I've said, this is the real heart, pardon the pun, of the paradigm shift, which is the universe is really inviting us to live from the inside out now and not just from the outside in. Because as you were saying earlier, there isn't enough sex, drugs, rock and roll, food, weed, distraction, porn in the universe to keep us distracted from our pain and fear. And every time we go, so when we run out of bullets in our gun and we have to turn and face ourselves, and we go, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I could be compassionate, I can be conscious, I can be merciful, I can be responsible. Then all of that healing comes up, tears, tears, tears. And our heart opens up and says, thank you for slowing down and listening to me and loving me. This is the whole inner child thing, of course. We all want to feel and need to feel safe, loved, and supported. But this requires, as we all know here, taking time and making space to go within and listen.
Yeah. Yeah. To get curious. Do you know that story about Dawn, the woman I hated at school?
No.
Do you remember that story?
No, I don't.
So I'll be quick because it's epic. When I was doing a degree, she used to sit at the front of the class and say, I don't understand. Can you say it differently? That doesn't make sense, this stuff. And I used to look at the back of her head and think, I hate you. I hope you're not here tomorrow. And when I see her in the morning, I'm like, I hate Dawn. Right? And I was walking home one day thinking, why do I hate her with a passion? Like, what? She's, you know, it can't be that. Why? And I just think of her and like this. And I thought, I know why I hate her. Because she has the courage to do the thing I don't do, which is ask, what is happening? I don't get it. Because I didn't. Brilliant. And I thought, well, you know, here's this woman I hate, where she's actually my hero. You know, she's the me I'd like to be, to have the courage to say, I'm lost, help. Sure. And I always used to look at her and think, yeah, you ballsy chick. Thank you for you, you know. And I modeled myself on her courage. The way she did it was kind of annoying, but whatever. And that was sort of a real beginning of me understanding the shadow and the persona, you know, on a real sort of literal, I'm doing it level, not just an academic one, to be able to go, the things like the judge in me, this harsh judge of, you have to know the answer. I'm doing a degree, you know, hello, I'm supposed to be learning. I don't know this. Why would I know this? I haven't done it yet. Sure. Accepting that, the naivete and the fact that we get to learn and stuff. It was extraordinary to go, the woman I hated 2 minutes ago is actually my hero, and I hate her for it. Mind blowing. Well, yeah. I mean, you made that shift. That's brilliant. That's really, really brilliant. You know, I love that. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. We hate what we fear, and we fear what we don't understand. And your whole process with that was unpacking that,
and getting down to the core of what is this actually showing me about me, that if I look at this differently, I can change my relationship to this and come back to peace. To me, peace is when we've done the work, when we've forgiven ourselves and each other, when we've communicated what needed to be said. As the vibration of the planet gets higher and higher, which it's undoubtedly, undeniably doing, and it has done this for a long time, but especially right now. I did these 2 sessions with my mystic friend and teacher, DVL, today, I was mentioning earlier. And, we were talking the last few days about how the energies have just been really, really high, really powerful. Yeah. And what happens is that people get very emotional. And because, emotion is, yes, exactly. I was, DVL and I both said we were flat on the sofa there on Friday for the whole day, which is true enough. Yeah, there you go. So emotion is energy in motion. And when we feel safe enough, strong enough, free enough to feel and express our lovely, complicated, messy, ugly, beautiful feelings, then we just let it rip. And so if you're dancing, or you're making love, or you're playing your guitar, or you're whatever, and you feel those 3 energies, you will express the truth that's in your heart. But of course, we know most of the time we're not in that expanded state. We're in a more limited state, in that cautious, observing state, etc. And the energy of crisis, of fear, of pain, it gets thrown into us. And if we don't find a way to let it out, then it just builds up. And that's how we start living in our little heads and disconnecting from the rest of ourselves. So I'm just saying that peace is when we've given ourselves that permission to feel and express our feelings. So meditation, prayer, journaling, affirmations, anything that focuses us, good music, etc., anything that focuses us, this is what I want to feel. I want to feel more of this. I want the space for feeling in this environment, etc., etc. I just want to encourage everyone to be emotionally self-conscious in the best sense of the word, and looking after ourselves emotionally right now, because I just feel like a lot of energy is still coming up for people, and some of it's very challenging.
Yeah. And here's the irony that lies in all the work that we do to avoid the pain. You know, in terms of us all of us in different times running from the potential for pain, rejection, judgment, punishment, that kind of stuff, through smoking weed, through whatever nightmare stuff.
Just pick your escape. There's a jillion of them. None of them work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Being stuck in there, or denying parts of ourselves, essentially.
That's right. Well said. That's very.
The irony in it is that's where the pain happens, in that pushing away, in that denial. Right. This is why you're saying Abraham and so on talk about, they don't even entertain what we don't want, because it's just dangerous to do so, because everything you think and everything you say is an affirmation, declaration of what you want. When we push something away, deny it, it is so powerful. So in facing off with it, like for me in those times when I was anxious, to be with, I didn't know to do this, to be with myself, I probably would have been in tears within seconds to just be. If I was, for example, with you and you said, listen, Poppy, just breathe, I'd have been like in bits. Sure. My whole thing was about keep busy. Everything's fine. And it was such a mess underneath. And this is, again, an invite that we're all having, even, though it's hideous for some people, to be able to go, okay, what about just breathing in the space? And if you cry, it's fine. If you, in fact, it's brilliant. If you're angry, fantastic. If you want to eat, fantastic. Just be as you are, and it will all fall away in a good way, and we'll find you in amongst with the mess, and it's all good.
Yes.
But we're still resisting. This isn't true, etc. Or I don't want to feel this. And the all the good stuff's in the letting go bit, which is okay, all a bit fluffy, but it's so true. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Become a mess, all will be well.
Say again, what was the last thing?
Allow yourself to be a mess, and all will be well, is the punchline.
Yes, yes. World. Yes, that's right. That's right. Well, stop running, stop hiding, stop stop fearing and start facing, start feeling, start flowing, being, you know, and I mean, sit with it is the simple way, you know, which is, you know, let go of the distractions. Sharon says it very well. Hug it. Everything you fear, hug it, love it, you know, and that's it. Because our fears, you know, are just the wounded parts of ourself that we keep pushing away. That when we have the willingness to bring them close and face them, dissolve into tears or laughter or peace, whatever, you know, we can integrate it. To me, the integration is such an important part of this. DVL and I were talking about this today as well, where, you know, we're, as the planet is higher and higher and the veil is thinner and thinner and the energies get more and more, then the things that can't go with us into the future, like we're talking about, pain and fear and guilt, shame, blame game and all of that, that has to get released in order for us to move on, you know. And when we're holding on to it, or we're denying it, or we're projecting it onto each other, which was the political point I was trying to make earlier, you know, we all have these things that we see in each other. It's just, do we judge them or do we work with them consciously, like you're saying? And conscious is the only way we can heal.
Yeah, and this is when, you know, the likes of Dawn, for example, or the things we don't like, when we're working with this, it's no longer angry making. We're no longer, you know, at war with it. It's to be able to go, okay, I get it. You know, I get how it is to be. Preston Smile said this once. I thought it was beautiful. I saw him doing a live and somebody was mean, just cruel. And he looked and he read it and he said, it's okay. I used to hate myself too.
Right. Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
So, you know,
that is so it. That's so it.
So powerful. The more we look at our judgment of ourselves and the parts that we cut off and, like you say, fragment, the parts that, you know, where we're disintegrated. We're just, a client of mine, bless her, she once said, I feel like a blanket, you know, like a blanket like your grandma knits and it's lots of different squares. She said, I feel like that and I'm just holding on one thread because so everything's fragmented. She was a multiple personality lady. And it was so, and this is us, really. We are all multiple personalities, just different extremes, as I see it, where we cut off, you know, the part of us that we don't want to recognize. So when we do that, everybody's less threatening. Dawn, I'd be like, hi, love, you know, you were one of my greatest teachers doing that hideous degree that was so difficult. We don't take other people's crazy personally when we, you know, accept and embrace, like you're saying, my love, hug our own. Nobody's really very threatening.
Right, right. Well, I love what you just said. I mean, to me, that was brilliant about self-hatred and self-denial and, you know, the pain of lack of self-acceptance. And so, you know, psychopaths, narcissists, sociopaths, this to me is the root cause of all these schisms, you know, in the psyche, which is there's some, you know, spiritual trauma. You know, it may transcend this particular lifetime, but there is some spiritual trauma that this soul as a human being is trying to resolve, because that's what this world is. It's a world of healing imbalance through balance, basically, you know, and it's merciless and it's very effective and there's no escaping it. So everyone who is here drawing a breath is looking for greater balance in ourselves and in our lives. And these extreme examples, you know, are kind of tragic. And the thing that I see, I'm just going to get political here for another second, is when we give our power away out of fear or out of programming to feel powerless and to trust others in big suits and big buildings and whatever else they have to persuade us that they're better than us or more knowledgeable or wiser or whatever, that they're worthy of our trust and they should have our power and authority or use it for us. You know, that is absolutely all those masks, speaking of our title here, all those masks are falling away. Because as I said last time, to me, this is the end of presidents and popes and queens and kings and the whole idea that anyone is better than anyone else. no, we don't believe it anymore. If you don't walk the talk, I'm sorry, you got to go to the back of the line. And if you walk the talk, yes, indeed, here you are at the front of the line. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. This is the times they are changing, and we're living it. And if we will be in our power and in our, I'm on my soapbox now, if we'll be in our power and authority ourselves, thank you.
Let's turn up the volume.
Yes, then we can rock this world. And that's what's on the other side of this nightmare. We have to find that power and authority inside of us and be willing to support that in each other.
Well, yay!
Thank you. I mean, we win.
Yeah, the universal
yes, I like
law
it.
of polarity in action. Everything has a powerful opposite, and isn't that extraordinary? The people actually getting their hands dirty will be the ones who feed first.
Yep. Groovy.
Meaning, if you're not like Teddy Roosevelt's quote, "The man in the arena." If you're not in the arena, getting marred and dusty and bloody in public, you're very quickly going out of style.
Well, it's all talk and no action. And the thing about Trump and Johnson and Bolsonaro and Duarte and Putin, just pick your stuffed shirt, lying his face off in front of a microphone and lights day after day, saying anything for any reason, and we're all asked to believe it. Oh, mighty one, you know so much, and we are so humble. Thank you for blessing us. It's just, oh my God, how much worse can it actually get? Maybe that's a bad question to ask, but to me, it's just like, the masks are falling off. We're actually seeing through the disguise, more and more of us with every passing day. And it's exciting in that way. It's very exciting to see that.
Yeah. And I think in it, what we get to accept as well is there's going to be a lot of people in pain facing off with this.
Sure, that's right.
I mean, the emperor is fucking naked, period.
Yes,
and we're all
yes.
Yes. But the pain of hearing what's happening to us and the intense fear so many people have been in, intense, like physiological, this adrenaline that people will be feeling, even the Zen ones, what the body's doing to contain all of this stuff is frightening. To be able to start to really see the Me Too movement in every area of our society, there's going to be a lot of grief,
Sure, but I'm really glad you're talking about that, because of course, how can we have a patriarchy if women haven't been oppressed and exploited, as we know they have, sadly, tragically, hugely for centuries? So that is, the harmony and balance between men and women, between the feminine and the masculine, between truth versus deception, etc., all of that. So my guides say no one can take your power from you. You can only give it away, and no one will give you your freedom. You have to take it because it's yours. So just like with the women in the Me Too movement, they had to be very courageous to speak up for themselves, and suddenly there are thousands and hundreds of thousands of women speaking up and supporting each other all over the world. And if the men are paying attention, yes, and the men too, and we're going, okay, this is new, this is good, this is different. Did it change everything overnight? No, but it's the beginning of things changing. And we're all going to do our human best and hopefully support each other to be courageous and care for each other, because the whole divide and conquer, that's what has to fall apart. The planet is here to be pillaged and raped and exploited without mercy. Guess what, everyone? It actually can't sustain it any longer. That's what we have to make our peace with, and shift focus, shift our gears.
Yeah. And when I say that about Me Too, I think you know what I mean. What I mean is there's so much corruption in every area that people are going to start to whistleblow together. What's devastating in there, and where we, I think, get to be very careful to see that we're groomed for passivity, is like with Hollywood. Hundreds of thousands of people knew. Sure.
Millions of people on the planet.
When I asked,
no,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
for me, the bit where we can start at kind of the grassroots is to be able to honestly to have a look in our own backyards. Where is there a problem that you are not talking to, that you're colluding with? So for example, I'll be quick. This little girl, I tell the story quite often because it's so powerful. Just me being me, going for a run, and there was this beast little girl walking with her mates, and I couldn't. So I stopped and said, "Come here." And she came over, and I said, "There's something you're not saying." And she started to cry, and her friends were like, "Oh God, what's going on?" And I said, "Is there anybody that you could tell?" And she said, "My aunt."
Wow.
And I said, "Okay, what also makes sense always, because we don't know what's happening with your aunt, is there also some other people in the event that for whatever reason, you know, your aunt, whatever, she's not home. You know, what I was thinking is, if aunt denies it, who else is there? Because this is this little kid's life." And she said, "Yes, there's so and so." And there are women and boys and in our own lives. If we quit with the chatter just for a second of who's saying what, and I can't trust them, and I don't like politics. Everything is politics, as I keep saying. The toilet roll is politics. Just have a think about it.
Yeah.
There's a little girl like that in us, in the classroom, where we are turning a blind eye to so much. When you buy, again, apples that are wrapped in cling film, we're part of the problem. We're turning a blind eye to things, and it's killing us. So we each get to go, okay, today, let's just be a little bit more mindful and forgiving and compassionate of my part in this whole bloody great big thing. And we're conscious a little bit more. Oh, the apples. And we're a bit more conscious day on day to be gentle, to go, where is there a little girl in my life being raped and I'm turning a blind eye? No, can't do it anymore.
Yeah, that's very heavy. That's very powerful. That's very good. Yeah, yeah. Yes, well, yes, the truth will set you free, but it'll usually piss you off first, is my...
Exactly.
Well, sweetie, this has been great as always. We can do this all night long. I think we've filled a few cups here, I hope. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Yeah, we love to do this. You can come and find me on my Lightheart 2012 Facebook page or Awakened Spirits Network group. You're welcome to join that. That's for teachers and teachings. And my YouTube channel, where I will post this as well, is also called Awakened Spirits Network. And I'm available for one-to-one sessions and channeled readings. And yourself, my good lady?
Well, I'm Poppy on pretty much every platform, Poppy Sprague, and you can come over. We're live tomorrow at 7 p.m. We got our free group, #This is for me and for you. And there's all kinds of different paid groups that you could join if you want coaching. This is how I present. I'm pretty fiery and straight because I don't think we got time to mess about. So if I'm for you, come over, knock on the door, and I'm sure you can come in.
Beautiful, beautiful. Sweetheart, thanks a million, and everyone who's here. We did brilliant, as always. Made sense of chaos and left with a smile on our face. What else can you hope for? Yeah, thank you. You're welcome, honey. Love you, and love to everyone, and we'll do this again soon. Be well. Yeah, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Okay.